The Eagles got to 4-0. But it isn't 4-0 pretty in Philadelphia with the Eagles. There is definitely some glaring concerns with our football team. We're going to talk all about it. How can we be so disappointed in a 4-0 football team? Trending in the AM, we're live talking all things Eagles on this Overreaction Monday in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button. Wherever you're watching, hit that share button. Of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. Starting today at 697. Didn't get to my 700 goal last week, but we will get there this week, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. It's also on YouTube. The only place you can vote on the poll question of the day. Today's poll question, who is to blame for the Eagles' offensive struggles? Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, who I assume will dominate the poll, Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown. Vote on the poll. We got lots to dive into with the Eagles here because despite being 4-0, despite this team winning again, there's a lot more questions than answers with this Philadelphia Eagles football team. But they are one of only two teams left in the NFL that is undefeated. So we have that in our favor. So there's lots to get into. It is a Victory Monday, an Overreaction Monday. There's going to be a lot of good. There's going to be a lot of bad. Good morning, Adam. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Cowboys and Cappers. Cowboys and Packers end up in a tie. I know. You can't write this. You can't write this shit up. You can't. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Chet, very good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Victory Monday, but that offense, yikes. And that's what we got to talk about today. It's a 4-0 team. But yet we completed 0 passes. I don't know if this is true or not. I also saw someone say because of the net yards, because of the punt returner, Braden Mann running that football, backwards, losing 34 yards on that play, that we actually had negative net yards in the second half of that football game. -1 or something like that. So here's my question, and here's what I want to talk about. Why is the offense so bad? Whose fault is it? But I don't know if I want to hear the, well, we are 4-0 story. Because I think the question is the way the Eagles have gotten to 4-0 this year, is it sustainable? And I don't know if it is sustainable. You got the Broncos next week. Then we go on some easy parts of our schedule with multiple Giants games, the Vikings, etc. But is it sustainable? Why is the offense bad? Bad play calling, bad coaching, bad execution as well. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, the offensive line. There's so many different angles and places you can point your finger at the struggles of this offense. And I don't know how you fix it, how to answer the questions. Because there's a lot of finger pointing that needs to be done. Obviously, you got A.J. Brown with his cryptic tweets and all. I don't get as upset as I used to about that kind of stuff. There's definitely some finger pointing in their locker room. But what about us? Where do we point the fingers? Negadelphia Monday. Woo. Who? Look, are we going to be negative? Maybe a little bit. Maybe. The drop-off between first and second half is tragic. Yeah, you put the second half of the Rams game with the first half of the Bucs game, that's a good offense. But the first half of the Rams game and the second half of this game against the Bucs was atrocious. How can you be so Jekyll and Hyde in 2 halves of football games as they have the last 2 games? They have not played a complete game yet. Yeah, absolutely. The second half was just like the first half of the Rams game. But why? Why do the Eagles continually seem to have really bad halves of football? Why can't the offense put together a whole game? And we're going to talk about the defense too. I think there's going to be a lot of love towards the defense this week, and rightfully so. But I think there's a lot of question marks on that defense as well that need to be answered. Good morning, Dante. How you doing today? Hot as hell at the game yesterday. We won. There's clearly an offensive problem. We can't continue winning like this. Play calling is horrible. The play calling is really bad. Half the time. The first half of the football game, Jalen Hurts was 15 of 16? 130 yards? 2 touchdowns? There were some creative play calls. Absolutely creative play calling. They did everything but run the ball well. But then they went to this offense in the second half that just made no sense. If you put the first half of the Cowboys game and the second half of the Rams game, then you confidently say Patullo is they, them. Yeah. I mean, you could say the second half of the Rams game, the first half of this game. I think there's been 3 halves of good offensive play calling so far this year. And that's not good enough. How much of it is on Kevin Patullo? That is, I mean, obviously he's going to dominate the poll today. How much of it is on Patullo? How much of it's also on execution? The offensive line not blocking. Saquon Barkley not finding the holes like last year. The wide receivers not getting open enough. Special teams look the best. No, I wouldn't say that. I would say the blocked punt for a touchdown to start the game, which take that away and we lose that game, will gloss over the fact that our coverage team was not great at times yesterday. Carter and Davis are SPFT in the middle. What? SPFT? I'm missing that one. Tampa's pretty good, and we beat them, I think. I think that is definitely not going to be the conversation this week, K1. It definitely is part of the conversation, and it should be part of the conversation. The Buccaneers, just like, what did we say after last week with the Rams game? We're going to see them again come January. There's a chance we see the Eagles or the Buccaneers come January as well. They are a very good team. They're going to win their division. They are a playoff team. They were banged up, missing key players. I think that the defensive tackle positions are over pursuing and getting burnt by running backs down the gut. I mean, if I was an offensive play caller, I'd be running the ball right up the middle of the Eagles' defense every single play till they prove they can stop it. And they can't stop it, the Eagles, right now. That's a sneaky little problem right there. Our Hall of Fame left tackle was out, maybe. Right tackle, Lane Johnson, was out for about half the game again. I think Jordan Mailata played. I know Jordan Mailata, after the game, looked gassed and limp and walking, probably cramping up, walking back to the locker room, but our right tackle missed a bunch of the game again. Todd Bowles didn't get this far by not knowing how to shut down an offense. Absolutely. We were going up against a very good defensive coordinator that, look, the whole conversation was he's got our number, right? And we still found a way to win. So that is a positive there to take away. This is like, what's up, Pete? This is like the classic Eagles of old, putting my heart under excessive load. And, yeah, my heart needs to be on load management this week. We'll use the Sixers term. Double it up on the blood pressure meds for sure, Pete. 1,000% this week. The defense is going through the learning curve of playing young players. Mukuba and Campbell let up big plays, but Campbell also forced a fumble. Absolutely agree. You know, speaking of the young players, and I want to ask something about the defense. Does anybody think that because we don't have a Brandon Graham on our defense, that could be part of the reason why we're constantly getting called for taunt team penalties and personal fouls? Who the lead, like Zach Bond's the leader of this defense. Reed Blankenship kind of is because he's got the captain. But we don't have that Brandon Graham veteran presence on the defense, and they're making a lot of immature mistakes after plays. Is there anything to that theory of mine, Marshawn? I meant to say soft in the middle. Okay, gotcha. This is on Patullo playing tight and forcing passes to AJ. There was definitely an excessive amount of forcing it to AJ in the second half. And every throw to AJ was in double coverage. There was one deep throw to AJ on the left side there that Jalen Hurts normally completes because he is a very good deep ball thrower. He just overthrew it out of bounds there. And that would have been a big moment right there in the second half. That's the second time this year that they've had an opportunity to get AJ deep down the field, and it didn't work out for one way or another. What's up, Tech? How you doing? This will look better once our O-line is healthy. Will our O-line, though, be healthy, Tech? It's always good to see you in the chat, my man. Lane Johnson is 36 or whatever years old, 37. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens came into the year hurt and are still hurt. Landon Dickerson is struggling. Tyler Steen missed time in that game. Luckily, he came back. Jordan Mailata is the only one not hurt to my knowledge. But I don't know if they're going to get healthy, so to speak, this year. Good morning. It's always great to see Tech, in the chat. Those two long plays they gave up on defense was not good. How did those guys miss the ball? Look, it was a game of big plays. The punt return for a touchdown, big play. Two big plays from the Bucs offense. What was it, 72 and 77-yard passes? That's not Vic Fangio defense. Jihaad Campbell got a little flat-footed on his, and that gave the running back an opportunity to get past him. And the secondary, I think Reed Blankenship, again, was late getting over there. So that was probably on Reed Blankenship, that play. It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. Imagine if we ever lose a game, Hobo. And look, there are going to be losses. But somehow yesterday feels like a loss. In my humble opinion, it feels like a loss to me. I'm guessing Hurts didn't have a concussion on that one play, but uncharacteristically forcing passes in double coverage was enough to raise an eyebrow. 0 in breakers in the second half, no seam reads. I'm shocked he didn't get even evaluated for a concussion to begin with on that play. First and foremost, turns out he didn't get hit in the head, but his head did bounce off the grass on that play. Nooms, if you go back and watch it, even though he got hit in the shoulder, his head did a little dribble on the ground there. And he doesn't force the pass. It almost felt like he felt the A.J. Brown tension rising and was trying to do too much there. When Jalen Hurts tries to force anything, that's when it goes wrong, right? Played way too conservative in the second half. Not having Saquon Barkley capable of breaking big runs, forcing him, played too conservative. You had Saquon Barkley limp after a play. Literally limp because he got rolled up on a play. And they feed the ball to him right up the middle again on the very next play. Talk about conservative, stupid play calling, right? It's Jalen Hurts' fault the offense isn't executing because Hurts is not doing a good job leading. He is playing like a guy that was up all night arguing with his wife. I don't know if that's what it is. But Jalen Hurts is to blame for the struggles of his offense. If he wants all the praise for the offense, he's got to also accept some of the failures of the offense. Is he the main culprit? I don't know. I don't think so. But he's definitely at fault. You want to be known as the best quarterback in football? Well, you got to take the blame when the blame is there. We don't have a bye until week 9. I don't know that we will be able to hold out until then. You can expect the linebacker to cover a running back on a scramble. You can't expect it. No, absolutely. And what did I say all last week, K1? Is that you don't want Baker Mayfield escaping. You don't want Baker Mayfield improvising. You don't want Baker Mayfield playing street ball because that's when he thrives. And he thrived twice yesterday. Well, more than twice, but the 2 big touchdowns were on those type of plays. I have a theory that Hurts was told not to make a scene this week because he would have had a discussion with Patullo after that third quarter. Yeah, I mean, maybe he was told not to make a scene. I think you said this before, or you said this yesterday. Maybe that is part of the case. Or maybe Jalen Hurts didn't have to be told not to make a scene. Maybe Jalen Hurts just understands the moment not to make the scene. But something's got to be done. I don't know if we can hold out to the bye week to make the change at play calling. But who do you bring in to play call? Who do you make the play caller? The Bucky Irvin touchdown was on the D-line. Mayfield had over 4 seconds to throw that ball. No way in hell that's on Campbell. Look, I would say if there's any problem with the Eagles' defense, It's the pass rush. Run stopping up the middle is problem 2. Run defense problem number 1 is the lack of a pass rush. I know they got 2 sacks yesterday, but they still fail massively at getting after the quarterback and wrapping up. They get to the quarterback. They just don't sustain it and finish the play. Nowhere near enough. You had Zach Bond rush the passer 5-6 times. You know that Vic Fangio doesn't want to use Zach Bond in pass rushing situations. Jalen tried to force the ball to AJ the entire second half. Yeah, I think he did. I don't know if that was a conscious decision or not, but he 100% did. Jalen watching the 23. Come on, people. Let's hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't, share it out, and drop your comments on this game. Listen to Adam. Those buttons, they go a long way. Vote on the poll question as well. Frank Reich is Stanford's coach. I could be wrong. Someone said in the live show yesterday that he's their interim head coach right now. Is Frank Reich really the answer, though? Would we really want Frank Reich back? I don't know. On a different note, congrats to Trey Turner on winning the NL batting title 304. Only guy in the league to finish over 300. There's a lot of Phillies that'll come onto the conversation as we get later in the week as well. I'll make one Phillies comment. Everybody, including me, was really panicking playing the Mets in the playoffs, Chet. Potentially going to Citi Field in the playoffs. Unfortunately for Mets fans, they don't have to worry about us going to the New York because New York ain't in the playoffs. Talk about a collapse. How about we just went up against a well-coached team? I get that, and I feel that. I'm the positive guy normally, and you guys are the negative guys in the chat. Today, the script is flipped. I'm trying to pull on the negative strings a little bit here. We did go up against a well-coached team, but we're supposed to be a better coach team, right? We're supposed to have a great defensive coordinator. We're supposed to have an elite offense, the highest costing offense in football, right? So, yes, we went up against a well-coached team, but that well-coached team's not won a Super Bowl, okay? And maybe they have been to the playoffs every year. I don't know. There's a big difference between going up against a well-coached team if you don't have great coaches. But we're supposed to have great coaches too, Nooms. So you would expect our coaches to make the adjustments. You would expect our coaches to figure it out. I don't know. We need to replace Patullo immediately. We need to get him some mentorship to help him get to speed first. You don't just fire someone without trying to fix it. Yeah, how much on-the-job training is he getting? You know, I don't know if there is somebody that can train him on the job right now in the organization. Drake May would have thrown a couple of touchdowns to AJ. Oh, now we're going to say that, right? Why not call Dougie P? Doug Peterson was never a play caller, was he? I know when he was our offensive coordinator, he wasn't a play caller. Anyway, it felt like a win. It's been so long you forget what a loss feels like. That's true. I mean, we are 20 of our last 21 games. We have won, Keith. We do not lose very often. So to find negatives, you kind of got to grasp for straws to find the negatives, right? Really, Scott would have designed a better offensive game plan. Yeah, maybe not. You know, Doug P would initiate a coaching controversy. Absolutely would. Our O-line is not the same so far. That's it. 100%. But I almost feel like the offensive line's not been as good as people think the last couple years. All right? Jalen Hurts' ability to avoid the rush, scramble, take off, has definitely saved the Eagles' offensive line, saved Lane Johnson, et cetera, at times. But also on the flip side of that, Saquon Barkley had an otherworldly year last year. Found every hole. I'm not sure about that, K1. Have you seen? I don't even know half of these movies you guys talk about. Well-coached team, yes, but the fall off is so extreme. Show that there is a problem in our house. There is a problem in our house. 100%. How can there be such a disconnect from one half to the next? Sean, it's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I don't understand how there's been three. We've played 4 games. There's 8 halves of football so far we've played. 3 of them have been exceptionally well-run offenses. Super Bowl level offenses. All right? The other 5 kind of got lucky in. We barely survived. I don't know how that happens. We are 100% in the red zone. It's a great underrated stat. I talked about it in the live stream yesterday. I talked about it last week, and I'll talk about it again this week. The fact that once we get to the red zone, it's a stone cold lock that we score a touchdown. And getting touchdowns over field goals is a big thing. You don't score all those touchdowns. You kick a couple field goals. Games are different, right? The fact that we can get in the end zone when we reach the red zone time and time again, it's a big, big, big point right there. Content check. What's up, man, Chatter? How you doing today? When do Eagles get an easy game? Next week's the Broncos. The following week is the Giants. That's when we get an easy game, right? I'm sure the Rams reminded Jalen what a loss could feel like. Maybe, except we won. More blitzing against Hurts this week, courtesy of Vance Joseph. The blitzing isn't going to stop. And while Jalen Hurts did have in the first half, I think one to AJ and one to Jalen, or one to AJ and one to Devontae yesterday, where the blitz came, he picked it up quickly, got rid of the ball for first down throws. I think there was one AJ, one Devontae, first down throws. So props to Jalen for being able to pick up the blitz better, get rid of the ball quicker. And there were actual plays drawn up where AJ could get rid of the ball quickly, or Jalen could get rid of it quickly. It's terrible. What? You're talking movies. Surtain will be covering AJ. Shit gets tougher for always open. It doesn't get easier, that's for sure. It's the bigger guys that usually suffer in the heat as well. Well, yeah, I'm a big guy. I struggle in the heat too. Boo the F who. Our top 5 O-line is not top 15 O-line. That should be good enough. Look, the offensive line needs to be better. Plain and simple. Did you see AJ's tweet? I did see his tweet. It was a quote. And look, I used to get upset about that stuff. I just kind of feel like athletes posting cryptic messages or athletes posting quotes from musicians or authors on social media about how they feel. That's just the way that's just the 2025. That's just the way athletes are now. All right. Would you rather them out in the driveway doing sit-ups and talking to media and starting the pot or a cryptic message? That's just AJ's way. And I learned my lesson about going against the star wide receiver back in 2005. And I ain't going to do it again. What's up, Bruce? How you doing? Hope you had a great weekend. Maybe when the offense looks good, it is how we call in the plays. Maybe Ali Roseman should take a half a football over and see how he does. Actually, it would be kind of funny. I mean, it can't get any worse at him, right? We literally had -1 net yards in offense in the second half. Literally. So could it get any worse than negative yards? No. So give it a shot. Minor complaint, but is A.J. Dillon the new Rashad Penny? Give this guy some rushing attempts. He had one run. Yes, he was on the field for a few. I got the snap counts up here. You go back to offense here. He was on the field for 8 plays. Actually, I thought it was a little bit more than that. Saquon's just not got it right now. Some of it's the offensive line blocking. Some of it, he just looks a little slower on that first step. That's just A.J. being a prima donna wide receiver. Every elite wide receiver has drama or has a little diva in them, has a little bit of prima donna in them. Don't you want your wide receiver to be like that? See, the thing with A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown wants to be known as the best wide receiver in football. He's one of the best, but he wants to be the best. He wants to win. He wants championships and all that, but he also wants to be known as the best. And when the ball's not coming your way, when you're not making big plays, you get frustrated. And I understand that. I feel 4-0 is awesome as we have a very hard schedule. Exactly. Let's put this in perspective. The Cowboys think they're a playoff team, always. The Chiefs are 2-2 and are still Super Bowl contenders. The Rams consider themselves Super Bowl contenders. They're 3-1. The Bucs are 3-1. They think they've got a chance. We played 3 out of 4 teams that are going to make deep runs in January. And we've beaten all 4 teams. Could be worse. We could be the 2-1-1 Packers. We could be the 1-3 Ravens right now. Am I the only one who absolutely despises the Green Bay Packers? I wanted Dallas to win. Well, I was rooting for the Giants to win yesterday, not the Packers. Or the Cowboys yesterday, elephant in the room. I do despise the Packers big time. For sure, though. They're becoming a very unlikable team and fan base. That reach up catch by Smith was crazy. Absolutely. That sounds like someone who wants to be a Patriot. Which one? I was really surprised they didn't give Shipley a chance to spark the offense out of the backfield. He was out there for a couple snaps, but not many. He had 3 snaps only yesterday in the game. So it is what it is there. It's just not working. Yeah, last year, Saquon had great run blocking, right, for him, but he hit every hole, boom, instantly. Now he kind of hesitates, and he doesn't get to the hole, and it closes quicker. Plus, the offense is very predictable. I would love to baby powder my hand and slap the soul out of Jordan Love. Yeah, one of those slap fights, right? Yeah. I love that last night. Matt LaFleur's clock management. I can't say I stayed up and watched it or anything like that. You're a big guy, Phil. You struggle with stairs, too. I do struggle with stairs. I struggle with heat. I struggle with talking for 90 minutes. Yeah, I'm a big guy. Didn't do my job of losing the weight this year that I wanted to. He's not lying. Hurts wasn't being told, get it to AJ in the first half. There were planned underneath checkdowns. Exactly. And then I don't know how this whole forcing the ball to AJ in the second half became a thing. I just don't know. But it wasn't good. All AJ is doing is extending the book metaphor. Exactly. He's just doing his thing. And I have no problem with A.J. Brown right now. And the way I'd rather him voice his frustrations through a tweet than be a problem in the media or the locker room. Still Green Bay is better than Ridley Scott's Napoleon, maybe. Patullo's play call list fits on a stamp. I made that joke like week 1 that his play call sheet looked really small. Really, it actually did. Bruce, Phil, I feel the Eagles fans always complain and say everything is bad, even if we are 4-0. Look, and Bruce, and the reason why I might have a slight negative connotation, because I do understand 4-0, it's 4-0. It's near impossible. That's why there's only 2 4-0 teams. It's near impossible to go 4-0 in this day and age. They still are. But my question is more, is the way they've gotten to 4-0, is it sustainable? Is it long-term sustainable? Saquon also missed multiple blitz pickups. He did. Kenny G, pick him up in your fantasy football leagues this week, right? Kenny G ended up with more yards than Barkley. That's sad. Cowboys, they're crying. Is angst a drug for you guys? My team is the best in the league, 4-0. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you on that. My conspiracy theory is Jalen and AJ didn't want to embarrass Todd Bowles, so they let him back. Oh, okay, gotcha. They like their boy. They're boys with Todd Bowles. Is that what it is? People are losing perspective. Are we at the point where Lane, Landon, Mailata, et cetera, pin Patullo against the goalpost and demand that he puts an end to this passive offense? I don't know what they got to do. But those guys went into Nick Sirianni's locker room last year, or office last year, and put their foot down then. They might have to do it again. Isn't that the bedrock of sports talk? Maybe. My other conspiracy theory is that they want Patullo out, so they're allowing him to show how bad he is at this. Maybe. A lot of conspiracy theories going around. I don't like the Giants, but I feel it as bad what happened to Neighbors. Yeah, it was a shame to see Neighbors. They said torn ACL, right? I believe that's what it is. That's a shame. It's a shame to see that. He's definitely out the entire year as well. It's a shame for Jackson Dart in that situation. We've won 19 of 20. No, we've won 20 out of 21. Actually. What's this? Shannon. There we go. The Goddard touchdowns were creative, but KP running on first down every time infuriates me. That there was proof that there is creativity in the playbook, Shannon. 1,000%. There was a lot of good plays in the first half. What happened in the second half, though? You think Saquon is playing hurt, is why he is slower? Maybe. He might not be healthy. He was limping yesterday after he got rolled up, and then he got handed off again. Phil looks more fit. Oh, well, thank you, Adam. I hide it very well. I'm not fit, though. How are we losing perspective? The problem is play calling. You can tell. Yeah, I think there's a middle ground here for this. Every time I see Carrington Valentin get torched, I think of Jimmy Hoffa. Okay. What's up, little G? We are on to the Broncos. Where's the Broncos? Kick the Broncos butt comment. I can tell everyone what and where the ball is going. I know. I'm the same way. I'm not an X's and O's guy at all. My conspiracy theory number 2 is that Patullo sent the play calls to Bowles because he wanted Hurts to look bad so he could get Tanner McKee in the you guys are funny. Make me laugh a little bit today. Neighbors is a young kid showing his greatness. To get injured like that it's a shame. It's his second year though. Yeah. Off topic. Your optimism for the Phillies. Mine is moderate. I'm gonna roll with the punches, Sean, with the Phillies. It's all about October, right? So it's October now. So let's see what they can do. A little concerned with the pitching, but we'll see how it plays out. We'll get into the Phillies on Thursday and Friday this week for sure. Unpopular opinion, Jalen Hurts is extremely overrated. Frank, that is not an unpopular opinion. There's a lot of people that think that. I think he's underrated, but that's just me. I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. Officiating was very bad yesterday, for sure. Jalen Hurts is McNabb 2.0. No, he's better than Jalen Hurts or McNabb 100%. -10. I was hoping you were going to say -15, but I guess -10. I guess -10 will do. Little G, are you uncle yet? Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Third conspiracy theory, Jalen was out all night with Michael Jordan gambling in Miami on a yacht. Is that what it was? If you switch over to your second thoughts instead of your sudden thoughts, you'll realize it ain't all the OC, not even close. See, I don't know. I mean, there is an execution issue. But they're executing Kevin Patullo's plays poorly. So how much of it's on Kevin Patullo? How much is it on the offensive execution? I don't know if I would necessarily say it's 50-50. I would say it's more on Kevin Patullo. And isn't it Kevin Patullo's job to get these guys ready to play? To have these guys prepared to play? You know, there's definitely plenty of it that's on Kevin Patullo. A year ago, we lost to Tampa, and everyone wanted Kellen Moore fired. Exactly. 100%. Last year, we were 2-2 at this point, and the sky was falling. We are 4-0 at this point. Let's remember that. Yeah, it's not unpopular. It's just stupid. I agree. Good morning, Anthony. How you doing today? Guys, 24 people in the YouTube room. There are only 14 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, and please share it out. Vote on the poll question. Obviously, Kevin Patullo is dominating. Nobody's voted for A.J. Brown yet. I don't think Jalen is better than Donovan. I do. 100%. Are the Phillies still playing? Well, they're off all week, but they start Saturday next week, their first playoff game. Donovan had way more talent as a passer. I don't know. He's a worm bar. He killed a lot of worms out there. Yeah, I'm not calling for Patullo's job yet. He needs to get some help. But who's the help? And it can't be Frank Reich. He's got a job. Is there somebody on staff that has play calling experience? I don't know. I'm going to Google it afterwards. I'll look up all these coaches that are on our staff if they have it later. Peso Frank, Phil's doing good. They are doing good. They are. How about that? Maybe I'm in the minority, but I think Hurts' decision-making in the pocket is the best it's been in his career. Even when he scrambles, he usually doesn't take the big hit. 100%. He took a big hit on that long run in the first quarter of the game, and I hated that. But, yeah, Sean, Jalen Hurts' decision-making is very good, except for those throws into double coverage on A.J. Brown in the second half. How many times was the offense put in a risky position to turn the ball over? How many times did they turn the ball over yesterday? None. Coming from the same guy that thought Wentz was the answer for a few years. Hey, I thought Wentz was the answer. I was the one that said Wentz was elite. I was a big Wentz guy. Let's call Pat Patricia. He can't call a defense. Maybe he could call an offense. That'd be like putting Juan Castillo out there, right? If Donovan had A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, he would win MVP. Well, Jalen Hurts might win MVP too someday. I don't know. Let me tell you something. I bet Jalen Hurts to win MVP. Got really good odds on it, right? They are offering me more than even money to cash out my bet right now. I don't remember what I bet or what they cashed out. I looked last night. But I didn't say I bet $10. They're offering me $12 right now to walk away. Just saying. I mean, he was an all-star quarterback. We don't win our first Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, so press Taylor, speed dial. Please no. Who thought Wentz was the answer? I did. I've been a major Wentz guy. I did. Patullo is calling plays scared. He doesn't want to break that record of 20 wins out of 20. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Hurts is no better than McNabb. Hurts just has a better team around him. I think it's a lazy narrative to say Jalen Hurts only wins because of the team. Because then when you say, well, Justin Herbert's better than Jalen Hurts, but he only doesn't win because he doesn't have a great team around him. So we hate on Hurts for having a good team, but we use the not a good team excuse why other quarterbacks don't win. So which is it? Okay? You're correct on that, Sean. He is still evolving his 3-level concept execution, but he is getting better. He is getting better. McNabb threw to Todd Pinkston, James Thrash, and Freddie Mitchell. The 1 year he had Owens, he was amazing. Yeah, we know that. Don't forget Torrance Small and Charles and Johnson and Small there either. I think McNabb had better quarterback instincts than Hurts. I don't know about that, but Hurts does a better job leading and preparing. I think Jalen Hurts' instincts are underrated, actually. I will always pick Jalen over Lamar for the simple fact one is a playoff winner and the other is a regular season winner. Well, one isn't even a regular season winner this year because the Ravens and their vaunted defense are 1-3 this year. I thought Wentz was the answer. He wasn't, but he looks like he's doing okay in Minnesota. He almost led a magical comeback there yesterday morning, so that was pretty cool to see. Glad the Bucs game is over. If I have to hear about the damn Heat one more time. Yeah. Not saying he's not good. He's not good or bad. Yes, a little above average like McNabb was. Well, see, I'll take the leadership of Hurts over pretty much every quarterback in the NFL at this point. I think some years McNabb was elite. He was elite at some points. He did. He carried this team at times. Good Lord, don't make me relive the Todd Pinkston years. Guy blocked me so quickly for saying Todd Stinkston on Twitter. Lamar got benched. No, he didn't get benched. He hurt his hamstring yesterday or his groin. He got injured. I flipped over to that game for a second, and they were talking about an injury. Groin or hamstring. I forget which one it was. When baseball playoffs. For the Phillies, it starts on Saturday. Yeah, Lamar was hurt. Yeah, it was. I can't remember if it was groin or hamstring, but it was a pull. The second half didn't show any 3 levels. It was what Sirianni playbook looked like. There was no unders or crossing. It was just bad. It was just bad. Wentz was the answer until his knee caused him to start pigeon-toeing his throws, and his back caused him to limit his ability to throw left. I think even after his knee, he was still pretty solid. I mean, that 2019 season was he strapped us on his back, even though it was a bad back, but he did. I would say it's the concussion from Jadeveon Clowney that really ruined him, in my humble opinion. How it worked, what worked, I don't know. Ravens really stink. Like that vaunted defense, I mean, they've given up 30-plus points how many times this year already? The Chiefs that we held to like 17 points, put up 30-some points. I mean, the Ravens just woke the Chiefs up, right? The Chiefs dynasty was officially over, and then they played the Ravens, and they're all back on board. It's kind of crazy. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, that defense is what carries that team. Neither are doing well this year. How's Derrick Henry doing? I mean, he had a pretty damn huge year last year as well, just like Saquon did. Is he dropping off at all this year? I know he's had a couple fumbles this year in key moments. But anyway, having Worthy back kind of helps Casey. Yeah, I mean, and they'll get, what's the other wide receiver's name? What's the other receiver's name that's on suspension? That'll help them even more as well. Ravens defense equals 2011 Dream Team defense. That's not a good thing. That's not what you want to be known as, right? That's not what you want to be remembered as right there at all. They couldn't call them. The block was not good, and they knew it. What? We were talking about Duck's comment from before. I got it. Rashid Rice, that's it. He's coming back at, what was he, 6-game suspension? So he'll be back in a couple more weeks. So the Chiefs will get healthy. The Chiefs will get their players back and things. Yeah, but look, I don't think you're going to find any Eagles fan that will sit here on this Monday and say that the offensive line has blocked well. You're just not going to say it because it hasn't been good. And a combination of injuries, it's a combination of a lot of things. But also, the play calling probably has something to do with it. Rice should have gotten a season-long ban. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Yeah, I know what you meant. But why would they want to take away a player? If Rashid Rice played for the Eagles, it would have been a 2-year ban. But because he plays for the Chiefs, we can't hurt the Chiefs too much. What about the officiating yesterday? What about the simple fact that you sneeze on a quarterback, there's a personal foul, but Jalen Hurts takes big hits? What about the taunting and the issues with the taunting penalties, not just for the Eagles, but in the NFL? I brought this up before. The taunting, the personal fouls, etc., while they're becoming out of control. Does this stem that the Eagles are getting called for it so much and making these careless errors, these immature errors, because we don't have a leader on our defense? We don't have that wily veteran on our defense. There needs to be more taunting. Well, look, I've joked about it and said it before, K1. The NFL stands for National Football League, right? Well, I think they're changing it to the No Fun League, right? It's really becoming no fun. I mean, Cooper Dejean gets called for a taunt yesterday. Literally, all he did was step over the guy. Baker Mayfield chases down Quinion Mitchell and follows him across the field. And Quinion Mitchell gets in trouble for shoving the offensive lineman, who kind of got in the way. But Baker Mayfield's allowed to do it. I mean, it's a serious issue right there. It's a good thing Steve Cohen has $339 million to burn and not make the playoffs. I would sell in a second and say, you know what, maybe I'm just not good at this thing. Spend my money elsewhere. Mets stink, plain and simple. That taunt on Cooper was a junk call. I mean, look, the letter of the law is you cannot step over a player. Was there room for him maybe to step back? Possibly. Cooper's got to know. Quinion's got to know. Everybody's got to know the eyes of the refs are on the Eagles tenfold. So you've got to be even smarter, right? So does that come from the lack of leadership, veteran leadership on this defense? My conspiracy theory number 4 is that Tom Brady is so expensive the games he calls have to be close for ratings. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it could be kind of true. We have videos and quick playbook now. The reactive player should not be the only one punished. Exactly. I mean, do the game right. Call the game right, you know? We have the technology. We can make it better. But they don't. I think Coop missed the invisible taunting detour sign. He might have. Look, I think there's a serious, because of the tush push even maybe, there's a serious amount of eyes on everything the Eagles do. Maybe because of Mister's conspiracy theory about the money and the ratings. They know the Eagles getting these called against them is good for business, good for clicks, good for content. It's a content world. Even for billion-dollar companies like the NFL. The eyes of the world are on the Eagles always when it comes to the officiating. Conspiracy 4 seems to be accurate in the current limited database. Maybe. But also on the quarterbacks. Like, let's just, some of the hits that Baker got roughing the passer called again on him. I mean, the one did hit him in the face. Letter of the law is you hit him in the face, it's a penalty. There should be a incidental versus there should be an incidental version of contact to the helmet for quarterbacks. Because the one he got hit in the helmet didn't affect him at all. The other one didn't even hit him in the helmet. It hit him in the neck area. Why aren't they 5-yard penalties? Why aren't they called for Jalen Hurts? Fly, Eagles. What's up, Mitchie Pooh? Fly. All right, so fly, Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. Hope you're doing well this morning, Mitchie Pooh. Good morning to you guys. Please, for Mitchie Pooh, he doesn't have to say like, share, subscribe, vote on the poll question, guys. I'd greatly appreciate each and every one of those things done, please. I will say this. Yes, they were bracketing over Ringo on a number of snaps, but it was amazing how they went after Quinion and not Ringo as much. Quinion Mitchell was targeted 8 or 9 times yesterday, and this was going to be one of the things I was going to get into, so we'll just get into it now. Nooms. They should have been running the ball up the middle, but instead they threw at Quinion a lot. And Quinion Mitchell yesterday, 5 pass breakups, only gave up 2 catches for like 8 yards. Quinion Mitchell may have had his best game as a pro yesterday. He played phenomenally. And you know what? Keely Ringo got beat on one play, but Keely Ringo, I think, held his own. I think even if Adoree Jackson is healthy next week, that you start Keely Ringo next week. I think Keely Ringo did perfectly fine. I really do. What's up, Davey? How you doing this morning? We ain't going to the bowl. And that's the thing. People think probably will think I'm being negative today. I'm not. I think the real question is it sustainable the way we've played through 4 weeks? While we are 4-0 and get through the toughest part of our schedule, is it sustainable? We saw ugly play in 2023, and we were 10-1. And then that ugly play eventually caught up to us, and we finished 11-6. First-round knockout in the playoffs. Is it sustainable? And I don't know if it is. NHL gets that right with major and minor versions of penalties. Absolutely agree with you on that, Anthony. And they do review some of those penalties. Sixers start Thursday. Who? I could give you a Sixers media day recap in 10 seconds. Who the F knows what's going on? I don't care. Move on. I'm surprised the Eagles didn't get a penalty on the blocked punt. They ran into the kicker, but you're allowed to run the kicker when you actually block the punt. Uncle Vic and his nephews are playing well. That's right. I forgot about Uncle Vic's nephews. Uncle Vic's. I forgot about my line. From yesterday. They got burnt on 2 plays because linebacker on running back in space. Blankenship didn't play the player and was trying to play the ball. Yeah. They gave up 2 big plays. Ringo did play decently after his first quarter. I think Keely Ringo, it'll be kind of curious to see what the stats are that come out on him. How many times he was targeted, the completion percentage, the yards, the quarterback rating, all that stuff. I'm sure I will find that this week or today, but I think it's going to fly under the radar how well Keely Ringo actually played yesterday. But Quinion Mitchell, could you imagine being an offensive coordinator? We complain about Kevin Patullo. Targeting a cornerback like Quinion Mitchell 8-9 times in a game and not targeting Keely Ringo? Now, again, mind you, they were without Mike Evans yesterday. So that definitely played a factor for the Buccaneers offense. But, man, I don't understand why they would target arguably one of the best cornerbacks in all of football that many times. If this team had rookies on both the D and the OC positions, I could see and understand the panic. But let's not act like we didn't see this team figure it out last year either. So here's the thing. Is this year going to be more like last year where we figure it out after 4, 5, 6 weeks and turn a corner positively? Or is this year going to be like 23 where we don't figure it out and it all falls apart? It's a question. Where does Mitchell rank among cornerbacks in the NFL? Ask me that after next week and Patrick Surtain going one-on-one against A.J. Brown all game long. Look, you got Sauce Gardner, who's not having a great season from what I've heard. Their Jets are up tonight. I'll give you my prediction on that in a minute. You got Patrick Surtain. You got Sauce Gardner. You got Quinion Mitchell. He's got to be a top 5 cornerback in the NFL through a year and change easily, right? I don't know if I could put him 1 yet. I think he's got the trajectory and the ability to become known as the number 1 cornerback in football. Tampa Bay kept targeting Q because Vic had Q moving to absolutely. And that's a new thing over the last couple weeks. We heard about it in training camp that he was learning how to shadow and go side to side, Anthony. He didn't do it much in the first 2 weeks, but he did it like 65, 70% of the plays last week, and he did it a lot again this week. And I'll be curious to see the numbers on that as well. I see chat. Oh, there. Something lagging on the chat there. I saw like all these comments coming up. They didn't swing over till just now. but Moore was the play call on several teams before coming to Eagles. Patullo was basically his secretary. That's the thing. We knew that Moore had the experience to learn to pivot. We don't know if Patullo could pivot or not. Denzel Ward is the best, but that is Q's ceiling. I don't know how I forgot about Denzel Ward's name there. So Denzel Ward, Patrick Surtain, maybe Sauce Gardner, Quinion Mitchell. They're your top guys right now. Answer to the poll, both Nick and Kevin, if a finger's pointed at someone, Nick oversees the offense. Yeah, and here's the thing, Jonathan, and good morning to you as well. At what point does Nick Sirianni have to pull rank and say, yo, Kevin, get your shit together, or I'm going to take this job away from you, the play calling portion of it? Isn't it on Nick Sirianni as the head coach to make that adjustment? Maybe. My question to A.J. Brown, stop complaining and make an impact on the game by running slants to get open. Well, he can only run the plays, Doughboy, that are called for him. He can't go out there and improvise and just run whatever he wants. All right? A.J. Brown is a diva receiver. All elite wide receivers are divas to an extent. Plain and simple. Let's not make too much out of A.J. Brown's tweets and stuff like that. But he needs to get open as well, right? Patullo was also one of the guys yelling for this team to run last year. Was he? AJ needs to get open. I mean, 3 or 4 of those passes to A.J. Brown in the second half were into double coverage. He wasn't open. Jalen Hurts shouldn't have thrown those balls. But I almost felt like he had to force it. And I don't know why A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, they have their issues, like communication sometimes. But they very rarely force the ball to each other. Or A.J. doesn't get the ball forced to him very often. I wonder why Jalen Hurts made such glaring bad throws into tight double coverage to A.J. Brown. I think it was 3 times in the second half. That's very un-Jalen Hurts-like. That's very un-Eagles-like. It may not take a rocket scientist to see that, but it takes a skill to get grown, stubborn men to change their tune. It's true. I mean, I'm a stubborn man. As for AJ, Jason Avant pointed out that AJ only runs 2 routes, slants and go routes, and being played like he is limited, reasons covered tightly. I mean, it's maybe. He ran an out and up yesterday. Jalen Hurts missed the throw. Would have been a big gain, maybe even a touchdown. That was early in the second half. And Jalen doesn't miss deep throws like that very often. Not only did he miss it, he was way off target on it. AJ was doubled. The way you get him open is to get the ball to Smitty and Mitchie or Dotson. Yeah, or you run the ball. The problem is we can't effectively run the ball right now, and that's a problem. They need to run the ball better. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of problems going on with this Eagles offense right now. But again, at least we are I guess to be a little less negative. I think the Eagles know their offense is a problem right now, but they are still 4-0. So you can learn, you can pivot, you can make adjustments, but still realize you're 4-0. You can fix things a little easier when you're 4-0. Guys, we've got over 30 votes on the poll so far, but only 16 likes. That means there's a lot of people not hitting that like button. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Guys, help a guy out. And drop. There's over 25 people watching right now. Only a few of you comment, and I appreciate it. Keep commenting, guys. But if you're watching, you've got thoughts, drop your comments. It's free to comment. It's free to like. It's free to communicate and chat here. Maybe Tula told Hurts to throw to Brown. Somebody might. I really think there might be some kind of yo, you got to give me the ball, or you better get him the ball. And I hope that's not the case, Adam. I hope it wasn't someone said, get A.J. Brown the ball or else, because that would be a really bad look. Tampa took outside leverage away in the second half. They took everything away in the second half. Patullo 100% told Hurts to throw it to AJ. Well, that's just stupid. I would like to go back, and I'm sure a Shane Half or somebody will show the all 22 footage of those 3 double cover. I'd like to see those 3 or 4 passes again in an all 22, camera angle, so I could see what else was open or not open on the field. Whether that was the first read and he just threw it there no matter what. I want to re-see those plays a few more times. Why would you ignore the open tight end in the second half? Tampa was tight on the wide receiver. Dallas Goedert had a really good game. Obviously, the 2 touchdown catches. But he also had a big catch over the middle, deep across the field. When you force things to certain people, it's a problem. When you just let Jalen do his thing, just think about the first half and how effective Jalen Hurts was yesterday. Stayed in the pocket, got the ball downfield, scrambled when necessary. He scrambled to his left and fired down deep to Devontae Smith at one point. I think that was one of the touchdown drives. That was an effective play right there. Jalen Hurts played a great football game in the first half. And then something changed in the second half. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe it was Tampa's defense. Maybe it was the play calling. Maybe it was a combination of all of the above. Calcaterra was open on the Dallas Goedert play or whatever, but make sure you watch that play again when they break it down. Which one are you talking about? One of the AJ double teams or the Dallas Goedert pass? Which one? But again, I want to see those AJ Brown plays again because that'll answer whether it was just forcing the ball to AJ Brown or not. If it was just supposed to be a quick 2-step drop, fire to your first read no matter what, okay, maybe. But Jalen Hurts still has to know that there's a double team there and pull that down and not throw that football. AJ Brown was actually, those AJ Brown, 1 or 2 of those passes were borderline almost intercepted. Calcaterra was open on most of those throws to AJ. But was AJ the first read and he didn't even go through, like he just 1, 2, 3, boom, I'm throwing it to AJ. Because that's what I'm told. That's why I got to re-see these plays over and over again so I could see more about what the read was on those plays, what the play call was designed to be on those plays. Coffee's going down real fast today. I'm going to run out of coffee way before the show ends today. But it is what it is. Look, we are 4-0. We are struggling, but we are 4-0. Is it sustainable? You take away that punt block. And shout out to Campbell, too. Campbell, too, might not be filling in for Ben Van Summer in the fullback role well. He was out there a couple times. It didn't go so well for him. Let me see here. Campbell, too, played 8 snaps on offense yesterday. He didn't do very well in that fullback role, but the dude's a beast on special teams. He made a couple big tackles on coverage teams, and obviously the punt block. I love Sidney Brown after the game. We're talking about the punt. Like, I did nothing. The ball bounced right to me, and I just trotted into the end zone. Campbell, too, having a hell of a season on special teams, and props to Eagles making him an active member of the roster and not a practice squad guy. Good morning, Brianna. How you doing today? We need to stop doing these stupid bubble screens when we know we can't get them to work. It's been a problem for a long time. What's up, Phil? How you doing today? I think the effect of the heat cannot be underestimated. Definitely a factor. And Phil, it's 100% a part of it. I don't know if they said what was wrong with Lane Johnson, but obviously he missed a lot of the game. He didn't look like he had the stinger that he had the week before, but he definitely looked like he was stretching and struggling a little bit there in the second half on the bench. On a side note, I would love the job of just the guy that's got to hold up the umbrella, okay? Or the tarp over them. If you watch the Eagles players walking through the tunnel back to the locker room after the game, I don't think there was a single Eagles player that was not limping. Potentially because of cramping up. You're trying to stay hydrated. Then after the game, when the adrenaline comes down, those muscles were tight. They're going to need to do some extra therapy on those legs and muscles this week. Jurgens is having it rough this year. Cam Jurgens, I don't think is 100% healthy at this point. Okay? I don't. You can't take away football players. You can't take them away. And that's an absolutely accurate statement, Keith. And I love that statement, okay? Well, if you didn't do this or that, we would have won or lost the game. No, well, they did happen. I agree with that. And they know it. Dude is flying under the radar. Campbell, too. Yeah, absolutely. Game ball to Campbell, too. Absolutely. Absolutely. 698. Hey, we gained 1 subscriber today. Woohoo. I mean, I would have thought we were at 700 by yesterday. Didn't gain I go live for 3.5 hours, do shorts, do all that work yesterday. I didn't gain a single subscriber. What the hell? We know what brings in the show. It's this morning show is what brings in the views. We haven't had an effective bubble screen since Andy. We haven't had an effective screen period since Andy. 20 likes. All right, so we got 20 likes. We're 2 from 700. Let's get there. Let's get there. One more to 699. You're so funny, Mitchie Poo. Can we get to 700? Come on, guys. Like, subscribe, share. There's 26 people watching right now on YouTube. Hit those buttons. It's free to do it, guys. We had the one bubble to Quez when everyone got hard over except at Ray Diddy. I don't even know. Lane, Cam, and Landon all playing hurt. Mailata might be. Again, Mailata was limping bad towards the locker room at the end of after the game was over. So they're all banged up. They're all hurt. I don't know why. I mean, maybe there's something too, why it's so hard to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Because it's such a long season to get through the Super Bowl. Right? These guys didn't have their normal length of offseason recovery. A lot of these guys are doing more commercials and more other things. Hey, look, they're not healthy, and they're not going to be all year. 699, hey, we gained 1 more. There, we gained 2. Let's go. 1 more to say, Mitch, you got your screenshot. Now let's get 1 more subscriber. Let's see 700 today. Let's do that. Kind of makes it hard to call plays when you're banged up in the trenches. It really does. Okay? Now, I think there's something to the other side of it, that Saquon is a step slower this year. He's not hitting. He's not that first step after he receives the ball. It's just not there. Last year, boom, took right off. Slight hesitation. Maybe there's something to it that he doesn't trust the offensive line's blocking as much this year. But the offensive line is not performing. Even Tyler Steen, before he got hurt yesterday, there was one specific play. No, maybe it was after he got hurt. When Saquon took that big hit and he got up and limped a little bit, and then they handed the ball off to him again right up the middle, which makes no sense. Tyler Steen got completely demolished on that play. He completely whiffed on his block. And I said going into yesterday's game how great Tyler Steen has been in the sense where if we don't talk about you, you're doing your job normally, right? And then we had to talk about Tyler Steen a whole bunch. Vita Vea is very underrated defensive tackle. I don't know if he's titled a nose tackle or defensive tackle, whatever. Interior defensive lineman. Extremely, extremely, extremely underrated. Then we just gained 2 more. We're at 701. Hey, let's celebrate 700 subscribers. Now on to 800, Adam. Guys, like, subscribe, share, live every day right here. ST got 33 votes on the poll. Numbers are booming. That's what we like to see. Where was this yesterday, guys? Am I crazy to say that Vita Vea is extremely underrated? Or is he just extremely underrated and I only notice or is he not that good? He just wrecks us. Seems like whenever we play him, he always has a major influence on the game. But it is what it is. Guys, we're talking this Eagles offense. I promise we'll get to the positives this week for sure. Hey, we could be positive right now on this game. We are 4-0. It's funny. We talked a lot about the edge and how we don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. Now, Zach Bond had a phenomenal game yesterday again, and he was rushing the passer a lot. But for as bad as our edge rushers are, our run defense on the outside is actually not that bad. It's the interior run that's been the problem. Interesting. Very interesting to me. If they're hurt, then they need to take a game off at the next non-conference game or the game right before the bye. Yeah, you can't tell players that to take days off. They're never just going to take days off because they're hurt. If they can play, they can play. Everyone knows and respects Vita Vea. Okay. I don't hear his name mentioned. When you talk about interior defensive linemen, you hear about certain guys. I don't think you hear Vita Vea's name. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. You're not correcting me or laughing at me, so I got to be close. You would only correct me on a name pronunciation if it was really bad. I don't hear his name mentioned when they talk the interior defensive line around the league. Eagles are the class of the NFC. They're the class of the NFL. Somehow, still. Vita, so not Vita, Vita Ve. Gotcha. Thank you, Mitchie Pooh. I appreciate that. It's good to see. The growth is happening. Some reason the growth doesn't happen when I live stream on Sundays. But I guess that's also because there's how many of us all live streaming at the same time, including you, right? So it is what it is. I'm going to go live for the entire season, but the live streams might not be a long-term solution for this channel. It's also pronounced Vita. Yep. Scheduled day off for players like other sports. I mean, they do get Monday off. They do get Saturday off. They get 2 days off a week. Like I said, the D-tackle are over pursuing. And I get that. And I can't believe they haven't figured out how to fix that or stop that. That Vic Fangio hasn't made some kind of an adjustment or talking point or coaching point on that. I want to give Quinion Mitchell, Keely Ringo, the secondary credit, not just for their pass defense yesterday, but they made plays in the running game too. Quinion Mitchell made some big tackles in the run game yesterday. Quinion Mitchell had a phenomenal game yesterday. And I'm going to pound that on that one a lot, okay, this week. Only 68 more. Could we get 67? I hope Zadarius can progress. Zadarius hasn't been good since his second game of the year. I mean, he's been okay. If I'm Vic Fangio, I think Vic Fangio made a statement to Howie by making Zach Bond rush the passer so much yesterday. Get me a pass rusher. When Cincinnati loses tonight, and Cincinnati will lose tonight, Cincinnati against the Broncos in Denver. Denver's a 7.5-point favorite. Denver's covering that 7.5. When the Broncos lose again tonight, will Trey Hendrickson get traded? I don't know. Maybe Howie's on the call. Eagles did well in the first half with the offense, but you have to understand you can't take your foot off the gas. It's 48 minutes. It's 60 minutes. You can't take your foot off the pedal. We all said it after the first half. Keep your foot on the throat. And they didn't do that yesterday. You got 2 Monday Night Football games, by the way, tonight. 7 o'clock game and an 8:30 game. I do have the Broncos covering the 7.5. Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins are at home, but 2.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Jets outright tonight. Jets win that game tonight. And then McDaniels is fired the next day. Lock it up right now. It's happening. I guarantee you. Jihaad Campbell played good. Big interception. Jihaad Campbell's been great. Obviously, he got beat by the running back, but I think that was actually something we talked about last week. That Jihaad Campbell does hesitate at times. I've seen about 5 or 6 plays this year where Jihaad Campbell commit. Normally, it's in the run game, not in the pass game, where Jihaad Campbell just stops instead of just trusting his instincts. And I think Jihaad Campbell has to learn to process a little faster a few times. But outside of that, Jihaad Campbell, for a rookie, playing in a very difficult defensive scheme that the coach doesn't trust rookies in regularly, Jihaad Campbell's got to be the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year at this point, for rookies. Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. Fangio has definitely gone outside himself this year. Absolutely. Playing the rookies, the amount of blitzing he's doing, he's definitely mixed it up a little bit. And good on him. Maybe he needs to call some offensive plays. Opposing O-line are also not attacking our D-line straight up like last season either. They are pushing them towards the tackle or center to put another blocking body. That's an interesting way. I mean, I have to look at that. But that could be the case as well. Campbell is a rookie. Instincts at the NFL level is different, I'm sure. Absolutely. And it's not a criticism. I want you to understand I'm not criticizing Jihaad Campbell. I think, if anything, the way I'm talking about him and the instincts and that hesitation, it just goes to show how good he actually is. That as a rookie, he's already this good. Again, safeties and linebackers, critical in a Vic Fangio defense. Our safeties are good, not great, but our linebackers are great. And the fact that Campbell's earned the trust of Vic Fangio with, mind you, let's backtrack. Jihaad Campbell earned the trust of Vic Fangio with missing half a training camp with injuries. Just think about it. They missed all of the offseason workouts. And he's out there, and he's kicking ass. Jihaad Campbell has quite a ways to go against the run, but his pass coverage, even with the wheel yesterday, has been unreal. I think it's just an instinct. He's got to trust his instincts against the run. And what has he missed or messed up? 2 plays? 3 plays maybe? Still not sold on Keeley. It will be bad if we have to rely on him long term. Look, I think Keeley didn't do anything wrong yesterday to not be given another chance. Did Keeley Ringo do anything to say he has to be my cornerback too going forward? No. But it was a start. Keeley Ringo can be better or could be better, but I'm not giving up on Keeley Ringo and going back toward Dory Jackson. I'm not giving up on Keeley Ringo and making a drastic trade for Ward from the Browns. But it's still on my mind, if that's fair. Okay? Blankenship needs to stop playing the ball all the time. He needs to play the player, and hope to punch out the ball at the point of the catch. Yeah, I mean, again, the Reed Blankenship conversation, we've had it for 2 years now. He's a good safety. He's not a great safety. He's going to make mistakes. He's also going to make big plays. Reed Blankenship also misses Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's at his best when he's got his boy Chauncey next to him. He doesn't have linebacker instincts in the box. Jihaad Campbell, not yet. Okay? And he's still playing at a defensive rookie of the year level. Just think about that. Keeley needs a hip replacement. Yeah. He didn't win the starting cornerback too, but he didn't do anything to say he can't. Exactly. That's all I want to say about Keeley. Okay? He's going to get another chance next week. In my opinion, even if Dory Jackson is healthy, I still think you give Keeley Ringo another shot. He needs to mask his grab. Yeah, he does make his holding a little obvious. What is your favorite sport to play? That's weird, elephant in the room. It's a weird question, okay? So growing up, I wanted nothing more than to be a baseball player. I played baseball every year growing up, okay? But I was a terrible baseball player. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a bat, okay? But I still tried. And I missed out on opportunities because I actually could throw a football pretty well, never played football. I was actually really good at basketball, but I hated playing basketball growing up. My favorite was baseball, but I was bad at it. My best was basketball, but I hated it. Makes sense there. I don't know. It's weird for me, okay? But I wanted nothing more than to be a baseball player. I wanted to be Mike Schmidt growing up so bad. He just stands flat-footed waiting for the guard to take him out. He's done that. He does that once or twice, Keith, every game. And it's a problem that he has to learn to adjust from. Q and Coop both played like the elites they are, 1,000%. Cooper Dejean. I mean, Quinion's getting all the hype from us, but Cooper Dejean had a hell of a game yesterday as well. Got away with 4 holds, Keeley Ringo, yesterday. Well, I mean, good, because they called enough bad penalties on us. So anyway, Keeley did well and showed physicality. I think he did very well yesterday. Well, good morning, Bob. Us morons claiming that success. Nobody's claiming success is a weakness here. We are having a great discussion today, discussing what needs to be better. Okay? There's been minimal negativity on this show. All right? We see there's obvious holes on this team that can make us even be better so that we can sustain this success. So I think you want to bring something to the chat. Bring something positive to the chat. I don't think we're being morons here. Now, there are fans that are being morons out there. I will give you that, but not on this show. Keeley nearly undressed Shepard. Honestly, I didn't even know Sterling Shepard was on the Bucs till the game yesterday. I was one hell of a swimmer, but I wasn't down with the Speedos. I was actually a pretty good tennis player as well. I played briefly in high school before the team folded while I was on it because we were so bad. But yeah, I liked playing tennis too. I was a big tennis fan growing up. Growing up in the Andre Agassi era, who didn't want to be like Andre Agassi or Pete Sampras growing up? Quinion is great at holding at the very last second and not getting busted. He's great at getting handsy, but not too handsy, right? He's got he knows how to hand check and hip check just right and not get called for it. Dude, Mitchie Poo, are you even old enough to remember watching Andre Agassi play? Like I'm old. Remember that. Much older than you. But Andre Agassi was, the cool. He made tennis cool in the late 80s, early 90s. Phil, I did literally. When I did terminate the tennis team. That's the first varsity team I played on, and it collapsed. Shut down. It is what it is. It is what it is. I can't help it. Guys, we got about 10 minutes left. I gotta wrap up a little early today. But make sure we hit that like button. Make sure we subscribe. Make sure we hit that share button. We're at 35 votes on the poll. A.J. Brown did not receive a single vote on the blame for the Eagles' offensive struggles in the second half. All right, Nick Sirianni got 26% of the votes. Jalen Hurts got 20% of the votes. Kevin Patullo got 54% of the votes. The line for the Eagles game is 5.5 Eagles favored over the Broncos. Wow. Considering the Broncos haven't even played yet tonight. Gotcha. It is in Philly, so that's good. 5.5 point favorites. That's a bold line. It's a really bold line, honestly. Pre-bald Agassi was elite. Absolutely. When Brooke Shields Andre Agassi was elite. Then he became Steffi Graf Agassi, right? Those were the men. Those were the stars. I remember that you need to the Michael the Great Wall Chen to get to any final. Michael Chen, he was a heck of a player too. I don't think he ever won a major. Vic Fangio, revenge game. Kind of forgot about that. When I was looking at the schedule, Anthony, I don't even think that kind of registered. But obviously, Vic Fangio, well, he coached the Broncos for 3 years, 4 years, something like that. So there's definitely that. Agassi was bald the whole time. He was just wearing a wig. That long, flowy locks. Was that just a wig? I don't know about that. He won the French Open once. Okay. All right. French Open. I was never. I was always a U.S. Open and Wimbledon. They were my favorites to watch. The French and the Aussie weren't my favorites, but it is what it is. I still loved. I still say now, when we were up in New York a couple weeks ago, in Brooklyn, and the U.S. Open was going on, I was like, I wish I would have thought of that. I would have definitely been there. I would love to go see the U.S. Open someday. Sit center court, even if it's like a first-round matchup, that would be a hell of an experience for me. Hell of an experience. Boris Becker. There were some great tennis players back in the day. Late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. There was a hell of a run of tennis back then. I mean, tennis has been good since then. But I think the problem is that there's no great American tennis players right now. And I think that holds the sport back in this country, for sure. If you had to face Chen, you were too tired to win the tournament. Pete Sampras. Pete Sampras, to me, is like Roger Federer. One of the greatest of all time, but didn't do it with that much flair. I mean, everyone always talks about, see, I'll show my tennis knowledge here, all right? Everyone talks about the Michael Jordan flu game, right? Nobody ever talks about the Pete Sampras flu match. If you don't know what it is, I mean, was it against Andre Agassi? I think it was the quarters or semis of the U.S. Open. Pete Sampras was literally throwing up on the side and out there whooping someone's ass. So I give plenty of love to Pete Sampras. Pete Sampras was way better of a tennis player than Andre Agassi. Andre Agassi just had the flair. Agassi admitted that he wore a wig through most of his pro career. Really? How did I miss that? How did we end up talking this much tennis on Eagles Victory Monday? I spent 10 minutes last week talking hockey. We spent 5 minutes talking tennis today. See, that's what you get on Trending in the AM. You never know what the conversation is going to be. Tennis? Hockey? You never know. We could talk about the Ryder Cup. How Team USA almost made a comeback. But I turned a huge profit on betting on the Ryder Cup. So we're going to give myself a little pat on the back for that. Duck, breaking tennis news. Yeah. Agassi looked like an AIDS patient when he first cut his hair. Man, he didn't look good, I'll tell you that. You called time on us, and anything else would have taken too long. Okay. It looked so odd. It did. It did. I hate it when he cut his hair. I really did. Sampras played Alex Korechka. It was Alex. There you go. Look at Adam doing the deep dive research on who he played in the flu game. It was the U.S. Open. I think it was the quarters. All right. Wow. Look at that. We always talk about the flu game for Jordan. No one ever remembers the flu match. All right. It wasn't a game. It was a match. What about the chick saying F you, Rory, at the first hole? I love it. I love it. You know what? And Rory was so pissed off at all the trash talking people were doing to him. But if it was in Europe, they would have been trash talking America just as much, and he wouldn't have complained about that. Tennis talk should be on Tuesdays, man. Tennis Tuesday? I know. It should be Tennis Tuesday, right? Monday is for the birds and Bob. It's Mr. Moran. USTA lives, yeah, does it? What's up, Peanut? How you doing this Monday morning? It is a Victory Monday. Bob's calling us morons, but whatever. I don't know who Bob is. Bob called us morons and then dipped and didn't respond to any of my comments about saying that we're just having a conversation here today. All right? We're just having a conversation today. We're not being negative. We're having a realistic conversation on is the way the Eagles have played sustainable long term. Last year it was sustainable. They pivoted and they fixed it. 2023 it wasn't sustainable. 2024 we had experienced coordinators and we were able to pivot. 2023 we had inexperienced coordinators. We weren't able to pivot. What's 2025 going to be like? We have one experienced, one inexperienced coordinator. Is there anyone in the Eagles locker room, coaching-wise, that can help Kevin Patullo out right now? I don't know. It might literally come down to your offensive lineman going into the office again and calling it out. Phil is a moron. Shows so me respect. What? How about them Cowboys? Oh, yeah, they didn't win or lose. They did nothing yesterday. That was more the Packers. I would classify that a win for the Cowboys, tying the Packers, and a loss for the Packers, tying the Cowboys. Couldn't have happened to two better teams right there. It is what it is. All these teams that we're not putting up points against, other teams are putting up loads of points against. What's that make you feel, good or bad? I don't know if there was anything too shocking in the NFL yesterday. Washington, whatever. The Giants, I love that the Giants beat the Chargers. The Texans put a whooping on Tennessee. I really thought Tennessee. I think I got all but 4 games right this weekend. Yeah, all but 4 games right. Buffalo won big, but not big enough. I don't know. It is what it is. Guys, I got to start the wrap-up process. We're going to end this in about 3 minutes here. All right? About 3 minutes from ending this show. So, what's on tap this week? Lots and lots of Eagles talk. I can't wait to hear what Nick Sirianni has to say today. We know he won't say much, but I can't wait to hear him talk today. And give us those word salads that he likes to give us. Want to hear how we're feeling. Winning equals losing coordinators. Losing coordinators equals slow. Winning equals losing coordinators. Losing coordinators equals slow starts. The offense will get the timing right at the right time. And look, after next week against the Broncos, we're going up against teams we can beat. The Giants twice, the Vikings. We get into the guts of the schedule. It's the easier part of the schedule. Although the Giants defense did hold the elite Justin Herbert to 18 points in the Chargers yesterday. So maybe the Giants aren't as bad as we think. Sirianni is one of us. He feels the same as us. Sirianni is one of us, right? He's one of the people. He's a man of the people, Nick Sirianni, right? A man of the people is what it is. Anyway, we'll talk a lot about the Eagles all week. Obviously, later in the week, we'll get into the Phillies a little bit. We'll do a little Phillies playoff preview. Once we find out who we're playing, the Dodgers or Cincinnati, whoever it is. We'll talk about that as we get later into the week as well. Escape what? Morons arguing with Eagles' success. I love how Bob just thinks we're idiots. I mean, we're having a a very, very fair conversation today, Bob. Bob. We're having a very, very good conversation. You're the only one not bringing anything to the conversation. Okay? I think he needs to take a puff or something this morning. He needs to wake and bake or something. Thank you very much, Adam. Muchas gracias. Sirianni chirping. Baker is hysterical. I love Nick. Yeah. I do remember. I forgot about that. That was a big one. Okay. How did I not pick up on that? My bad. Where was the comment here? I forgot that Nick Sirianni was chirping at Baker yesterday. At one point, I totally forgot about that, and I love that. Is he a Cowboys fan? He must be a Cowboys fan. I don't think he is, though. Got to speak on Joe Flacco. He is a horrible as a quarterback. Threw a float, but yeah, I don't even know. Look good on paper. Phillies look good on paper. Yet you keep arguing with success. So you want me to talk Phillies? I mean, I've talked Phillies. You could brought the Phillies up. We would have talked about them. You got to bring something to the conversation. Absolutely agree. Anyway, we got to wrap this up, guys. Yeah, I took a pee in his cornflakes. He got the knockoff store brand cornflakes, not the real cornflakes by Kellogg's. Guys, I got to wrap this up. I got to get to work. Got to make the pizzas, guys. Everyone have a great Monday. We'll be back here live tomorrow, 8 a.m., as we do every single day. Absolutely. Unfortunately, Rick, I'm ready for Rick in the conversation, but I got to get to work here today. So everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. for another 90 minutes of setting the trend for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia. Guys, go Birds. Bubbles up.